The Kingdom of Hyrule we see in the Zelda series' latest installment, Breath of the Wild, is arguably the best iteration of the kingdom we have ever seen. A world 10 times bigger than past ones, an adventure that's so unique and different to the rest that is considered to be the beginning of a new era in the series. Traditionally, Zelda games are action-packed for the entire journey due to the linearity of the story, moving from point A to point B to progress, but Breath of the Wild threw that out the window. You start at point A and then go wherever you like, do what you like, and discover whatever piques your interest. Breath is truly your adventure. The amazing Kingdom of Hyrule this time around is chock full of secrets, references, and mysteries. So many that some of the smaller ones get overlooked due to how deep the rabbit hole can go with other details. For example, the Z word that we won't mention here because it's covered so freaking much Zelda. That's the word. Zelda. Long story short, there are tons of overlooked or even missed details and secrets that haven't been explained or discussed. And today, I thought it would be fun to cover 5 secrets in Breath of the Wild that you might have missed, and a possible explanation for some. Also, before we get into it, let's thank today's sponsor, my Twitter page. Yeah, I don't have a sponsor, but I am working on merch and consistently posting updates and sneak peeks over there. So be sure to go follow me on there to keep up to date, along with my other socials linked in the description. Anyway, be sure to go grab yourself a snack or drink, and let's get into the video. The opening segment of Breath of the Wild is, at least in my opinion, an enjoyable Zelda tutorial. In the past, games have had extremely long and at times tedious tutorial/opening segments. Hell, even my favourite game Twilight Princess is guilty of this, as the introduction in that game is extremely long and I will admit, tedious. But you get to meet Midna shortly after, so it's chill. Breath of the Wild on the other hand has a really enjoyable tutorial, the Great Plateau. An isolated, well, plateau, which is essentially a miniature Hyrule to teach you the game mechanics and environment, and it does a phenomenal job in doing so. But after this opening segment, once you are free to leave and begin the main quest, a lot of players never return here. Whilst that's fair enough due to the sheer amount of content out in the massive world the game offers, the plateau hides many secrets, one of which is the entrance to the plateau. I've seen this question pop up time and time again, and I'll be honest, for a while I was confused on where the entrance to the plateau was too. It's obvious that before the calamity, people visited and possibly in small numbers lived here, but how did they get up? Well, over to the north of the plateau is a pond, but look a little deeper and you will notice that it's actually filled up with rubble from the destruction caused by Calamity Ganon. There was once a staircase here for entering the plateau. If you head outside of the plateau and look at the bottom, you can even see the other side of the entrance also blocked up with rubble. So there you have it, it's as simple as that, the entrance was right there. So that's one mystery explained, but let's move on to something a bit more deep. Moving over to the tropical paradise village of Lurelin, we have a secret that's more on the discreet reference side of things, but a little secret nonetheless. Lurelin village is a fishing village, generations of sailors, fishermen and women, and of course selling seafood. It's the way of life here. If Link gets to know the locals and stumbles upon Roselle, he will task Link with the side quest to recover some sunken treasure he knows of, telling Link that he looks strong and fit to find the treasure, implying that he himself is past his time to be adventuring for sunken treasure. Roselle describes the treasure very interestingly, saying that in Old Tale states, the treasure sleeps in the centre of the Golden Triangle. Not far off the shore of Lurelin village are 3 rocks creating a triangle, and would you know it? There is in fact not 1, but 3 treasure chests in the centre. This side quest is an obvious reference to the Triforce, describing the treasure with a golden triangle, which is funny considering the lack of a Triforce presence in Breath of the Wild. It's a really small reference, but it's one that I really love. Next up takes us to the Kingdom of Hyrule, as in the entire Kingdom of Hyrule. This detail, or details, can be found all over the land. We know this version of Hyrule is set far beyond every other telling of the kingdom. These events, including the Great Calamity 100 years ago, take place potentially hundreds of thousands of years after the events of the likes of Twilight Princess, The Wind Waker, and A Link to the Past. This kingdom has seen a lot, been through a lot, and for this detail, contained a lot. The wildlife seen in present Hyrule is similar to our wildlife in real life. Well, minus the wild giant Hinox, terrifying Lynels, bone-crushing Talus enemies, and of course the Bokoblins and co. Other than that, it's pretty real. There are wild deer, foxes, birds, bears, and all sorts of animals to come across in Hyrule, but also similar to our world, there was once a very different wildlife. We can see all across the land the remains of what appears to be dragons, Hinox, Molduga, and Leviathans. But there is another sign of another past creature that many players miss. The Dodongo. Well, what I suspect to be a Dodongo. On Death Mountain, you can come across these massive footprints that have been moulded into the rock by some sort of large beast. The instant thought would be that these are the footprints of Divine Beast Val Redania, but upon closer inspection, the tracks don't match up. Rather, these are more than likely the tracks of a Dodongo. Massive reptilian beasts that resided within the hottest climate, Death Mountain. The most notable appearance of these creatures would be in Ocarina of Time, as Link took on King Dodongo of Dodongo's Cavern, in search of one of the 3 spiritual stones. Due to how old the Kingdom of Hyrule is during the events of Breath of the Wild, and because of everything that has happened over the ages, it's likely that these large fire-breathing lizards went extinct, along with other creatures like wild dragons and leviathans. Although we don't know for sure, they could still be lurking somewhere in the world of The Legend of Zelda, and whilst this is becoming a stretch, maybe we will see them in some farther lands in Breath of the Wild too. Call these footprints a secret or detail, whatever you like. They definitely get passed by on many players' adventures due to how bumpy Death Mountain already is. As mentioned earlier, the Great Plateau has tons of secrets and details that players miss out on discovering due to leaving and never returning to fully explore. So returning to the Great Plateau, we can find the remains of what is likely religious temples. We know there is the main temple, the Temple of Time, where people would go to worship the goddess Hylia. But on the way up to the temple, there are 3 smaller temples, which are in worse condition than the main temple. But there are some interesting details within these smaller ones. Within each of them, on the floor, we can see the symbol representing the 3 goddesses, Din, Nehru, and Furore. Furore? It's not explained to us what these smaller temples were used for in-game or in the book Creating a Champion, but my guess is that they were used for citizens of Hyrule that had strong beliefs in an individual goddess, rather than just Hylia, as not everyone necessarily followed Hylia. That's just my guess though. There is also a chance it could have been for working your way up to Hylia, praying to each individual golden goddess first, then Hylia. Who knows, I just thought it was a really cool detail a lot of players miss, and it could mean something that we just don't know. Before getting into my final secret, here are a few smaller details as honourable mentions. If you venture deep enough into Hyrule Castle, you can actually see the outside of the sanctum that you fight Calamity Ganon within during his first phase. Along with that, there are actually a few rooms within Hyrule Castle we can't access, but know are there thanks to the Creating a Champion book. Now, to tell a story. Literally. In the humble village of Hiteno, where the grass blows in the wind peacefully, the farmers provide for the people, and life is generally good, we can meet a young girl, Karen. No, not the lady screaming to see the manager. Rather, a young girl who can be seen reading a book in her home, and it's the contents of this book which are interesting. She can be seen reading a book depicting what appears to be the story of Link. At first, it looks more like the prologue seen in the Wind Waker, but upon closer inspection, we can see that this is in fact the hero of the wild. The hero in blue. Now this could be a nod towards the current hero and his current adventure, or the story of the hero from 10,000 years ago seen on the tapestry. Regardless, it's a really cool secret hidden within something as small as a book read by an NPC. What's also cool is the text can be translated, and was back in I believe 2017. A fellow Zeldatuber called Andy, better known as the Old McIntyre, translated this to read, "Once upon a time, there lived a prince. One day on his way to the castle, something strange happened." Which doesn't really mean much, likely just referring to the Great Calamity, likely the first one. This is definitely one of my favourite little secrets in Breath of the Wild, as it's so easy to miss and just pass by. It's things like this that really make the Zelda games for me. I just love this. Thanks a ton for checking out this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more Zelda content, just like this video that you enjoyed. You know you enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe for more Zelda content. It's a win-win. What did you think of these secrets and details? Did you know any of them already, or did you learn a few? Let me know in the comments below, along with some of your favourite secrets in Breath of the Wild. Special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters for your generous support to me running the channel and creating content for all of you amazing people as often as possible. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter and receive some perks such as video previews before they release, your name featured at the end of every video, and more, then head over to my page through the card in the top right or link in the description. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.